Hello, beautiful people. My name is Athol. Let's jump into it. And today I want to follow on the Anxious Wife series that I did last week and answer a reader question, which is namely, what happens to the kids when mom is really anxious? How does that anxious parent affect the children? And I think this can go one of three basic ways. And it basically is dependent on the basic personality of the kid and what that personality does when they're interacting with an adult who is highly anxious, worried about being rejected, worried about not being loved. So I think the first way that they can react is they can learn that they really should be anxious too. When mom is freaking out, this is the responsible adult who is freaking out. So maybe there is something really serious going on. Maybe I really should be anxious and fearful and worried about what happens in the world. Maybe lots of things can go wrong. Maybe I need to be on edge and mimic the same behavior that I'm seeing with mom. The other reason that they can learn to be anxious is they can discover that when they are freaking out, when they are being anxious, if they're basically kind of good kids, they can learn that the world kind of stops for them and tries to take care of them. They get all this extra time, they get all this extra attention, extra love, extra support, and they can learn that the parents around them, especially mom, stops whatever they're doing, give them lots of attention, and the sole focus becomes getting them through their anxiety. And while that's happening, there's far less pressure put on them to do things like clean their room, do the dishes, help out around the house, get the best grades you can, and do a whole bunch of stuff. So they can learn that they can get out of chores and tasks that they're not really interested in by having little anxiety attacks, little panic attacks themselves that magically go away when fun things are offered to the kid to do. So they might be really anxious when it's time to do a whole bunch of chores, but they're having a really, really good day when it's the time to go to the movies. The second way that I think kids can react is if the kid is by nature somewhat assertive, somewhat dominant, somewhat aggressive, they learn very quickly that they can just bully their mother. They can make all kinds of demands, and they can be very threatening and obnoxious and basically sort of emotionally abusive, threaten to throw tantrums, and mom folds. And mom lets them get away with stuff. And this is something that you can see an awful lot of. If mom is just weak to the kids, if mom is frightened of not being loved, not being accepted, being rejected, deep down, getting that love and acceptance from the kids is really important. So she folds, she defers to them. And if the kid is by nature somewhat dominant and aggressive, they will get their way and just bully her. Bully her. The third way I think kids react is they basically take their cues from dad. And this is especially for the kids that are by nature pleasant, agreeable, not particularly assertive, very peaceful. And they learn that they should walk on eggshells around mom. They should always be nice. They should always be good. They should be perfect good little boys and girls and not set mom off. Because when mom is having a bad day and she's freaking out about something or really mad about something, they get to be the brunt of some of that rage or whatever. And they want no part of it, so they walk on eggshells and don't stand up to it all that much. Which is ironically exactly what dad does. So if you're worrying about, how does anxious mom affect the kids? Well, the question should also be, how does people-pleasing, super nice guy dad also affect the kids? The other thing to consider is, I just suggested these are three possible ways the kids can go. Not all the children in the family are necessarily going to go the same way. You might have one kid that gets really, really anxious and learns this is the way they should act. You might have one kid that's really aggressive and bullying and learn that's the way they should act. And you might have that poor little middle kid who learns that they should be basically invisible, fade into the woodwork, Just do everybody else's chores, be super agreeable and super nice. And I think that is sort of in a nutshell how the kids can be affected by a really anxious parent. I think it's a sort of a slightly exaggerated increase in their basic personality. The kids that get more anxious were always going to be a little anxious by nature. The kids that got tuned into bullies were always going to be pretty dominant and assertive by their nature. The kids that become super nice guy, good girl, people pleasers, they were always going to be somewhat agreeable, supportive people by their nature. I think the slightly dysfunctional parent just brings that out and makes it a little bit more of a caricature. So that is about it. I hope you liked the video. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good internet stuff. And I will talk to you soon.